Hello everyone. Let's start off by reviewing the slopes of parallel lines. Let's say we have two lines, L1 and L2, and let's say the slope of L1 is 3 and the slope of L2 is also 3. So if the two lines have the same slope, then we know that they are parallel to each other. Okay? Alright, so now let's say that the slope of L1 is 7 and the slope of L2 is -2. As you can see, 7 is not equal to -2, so if the slopes are not equal, then we know that the two lines are not parallel. Alright, so let me show you how to write the equation of the line that is parallel to this line here. So we have y equals -2x plus 3, and we want to write an equation of the line that is parallel to that line and also passes through this point 1, 7. So we'll start off by labeling the x, which is the 1, and the 7, which is the y. And now, since we know that the slope of this line is -2, we also want the slope of the line that we're going to write out to be -2 as well. And we're going to have to use this 0.17. Alright, the first thing we want to do is write down the point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Notice this is the point we're going to use, so we can actually make this x1 and make this y1. Alright, and the slope is -2, so let's replace that. -2 for m, and the y stays as the y, and then y1 is the 7, and the x1 is the 1 here. Okay, so now we can do out the algebra. This will give us -2x. -2 times the -1 gives us the +2, and y minus 7. So the only thing left is to +7 to both sides. +7 over here. So now we have y is equal to -2x plus 9. And then we can cross out this -7 and +7. So now we can conclude that this equation, y equals -2x plus 9, is parallel to this one here that we started off with, and also passes through the point 1, 7. Okay? Alright, so now let's take a look at the slopes of perpendicular lines. We're going to let M1 be the slope of L1, and let's say that's equal to 3/2. And we're going to let M2 be the slope of L2, which is the second line, and we're going to let that be equal to -2/3. Now, if the slopes of the two lines are opposite reciprocals, then we know that the two lines are perpendicular. In other words, if you take M1 and you multiply it with M2 and it's equal to -1, then that tells you that the two slopes are opposite reciprocals, which implies that the two lines are perpendicular. Now, if we were to change the slopes, let's say M1 is equal to 1/3 and M2 is equal to 2/5, then if we were to take M1 times M2, which is 1/3 times 2/5, then we know that this is equal to 2/15, which is not equal to -1. So this tells you that these two lines are not perpendicular, because their slopes are not opposite reciprocals. Alright, so now we're given this equation, y equals 1/2 x plus 3, and what we want to do is write the equation of a line that is perpendicular to this line and also passes through this point, 4, 1. So we know the slope of the original line is 1/2, so the slope of the line that is perpendicular to it will be -2 over 1, okay? And now we can write this or label this 4 as x1 and this 1 as y1. Again, we'll use the point slope form. Alright, so let's plug in the information that we do know. We have y minus the y1, which is 1 here, equals the slope that we want, which is -2 over 1, and x minus the x1, which is the 4. Okay, now we can do out the algebra. Y minus y1 on the left hand side, so we have -2 times x, so that's just -2, and then -2 times the -4, that's a +8. Oh, don't forget about the x here. And now all we have to do is just add 1 to both sides. So this -1 and +1 will go to 0, and then we just have the y equals -2x plus 9. So now we can conclude that this equation, y equals -2x plus 9, is perpendicular to the original equation, and it also passes through the point 4, 1. Alright? And that's the end of the lesson, and we are happy.